Ladies and gents, I am the one and only DJ Storms. I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the channel on YouTube.com. It is Monday, May 30th, Memorial Day 2022, and I am live. I'm not sure if this was the very first time. I think this is either the first, maybe the first or the second time I've been live on Memorial Day, but I don't think I've done a review on a Memorial Day in quite some time. I've only been doing this for about 5 years. It'll be 5 years in July. But either way, I am live, and I greatly appreciate all of you who are currently tuning in or will be tuning in after the stream is over, because quite frankly, I don't really expect many live viewers, if I'm going to be quite honest here. But Dylan Catchman, Big Boy Johnny are in the chat, so shout out to them. Shout out to them. I appreciate you. If you haven't already done so, please make sure you hit that thumbs up. AEW Double or Nothing 2022 is in the books, and I am very much pleased, for the most part, with what we saw last night on Bleacher Report. Bleacher Report did have some problems early on. A lot of people on Twitter were reporting that, so I really do hope that either Bleacher Report sorts its shit out or AEW does get a streaming platform, because let me tell you something, they desperately need a streaming platform in the worst possible way. But regardless, I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you tuning into the video as we speak. We got Normal Guy, we got Dee who just joined. This is the official rewind for AEW Double or Nothing 2022, which of course streamed live on Bleacher Report and all pay-per-view cable providers last night from Las Vegas, Nevada, with the pre-show, the buy-in, starting at 7 p.m., although we didn't get a buy-in match until about 7:50. Regardless of that, whenever it comes to an AEW pay-per-view, the eyes of the world are watching. The eyes of the world are watching because Tony Khan, he always tries to outdo himself. He always tries to outdo himself. He always tries to make every single show that he produces better than the next because of the passion and the level of effort that he puts into every single show that he does. And I would not say that this was the best AEW show of all time, because it's got a lot of competition. That actually belongs to Revolution, their most recent show, this past March. I would probably rank this as maybe number 3 or 4 on the best AEW shows of all time. It was not their best. Not at all. But in the end, regardless of whether or not this was their best show, it was a great show by the end of the night, and I would say that this was their most important show to date. And the reason why I say it was their most important show to date is because of the longevity of AEW. A lot of people, a lot of fucking idiots on social media, they go back and forth and they curse AEW to the high heavens. Oh, it's not going to last. It's never going to last. Blah, blah, blah. All this bullshit. After this show and what we got and the young talent that's being pushed, the people that are being presented in the best possible way, the champions that we have on AEW television, it is clear as fucking day. Really. It is clear as fucking day that Tony Khan, he absolutely knows what the fuck he's doing. If you have not gotten on board with what Tony Khan is doing, then plain and simple, you're not a professional wrestling fan. You are not an advocate for professional wrestling. You do not deserve to be involved in anything professional wrestling related. You don't deserve to open your fucking mouth about anything professional wrestling related. It was not a perfect show by any means, so do not misconstrue my words. There were a couple of scenarios where the crowd was burnt out. They picked it up in the end. They were loud as fuck in the end, so props to the Las Vegas crowd for hanging in there. It was only like 9:12 over there by the time the main event hit, so they had plenty of energy to give back to Hangman Page and CM Punk. But the formatting of the show way too fucking long, way too fucking exhausting, especially considering how great Revolution was booked and how great the match format and the match placement and order of Revolution was. I understand, and according to reports, Dave Meltzer said the reason why there were extra matches added to the show was because of Martha Hart. Now, Martha Hart, she gave a speech. It did not go very long. It did not go very long at all. But Tony Khan brought out an extra hour for AEW Double or Nothing specifically because he wanted to give Martha Hart as much time as he possibly could. Yet, when he reviewed the speech that Martha Hart was going to present, it actually was less than what he anticipated, less time than he anticipated. So he figured, okay, I'll add an extra couple matches to the show. And he wanted to combat the NBA playoffs. Listen, I get that, and I get wanting to give more to your audience and trying to make sure they get as much great talent on the show as possible. But if you're going to do that, I don't mind 12 to 13 matches as long as they are formatted correctly, especially considering there's only 4 of these pay-per-views. So at the end of the day, if AEW is going to continue to do a 12-13 match format, then they need to format the show exactly how Revolution was formatted. Double or Nothing only had 1 more match than Revolution. Revolution had 12 matches. What was the difference between Double or Nothing and Revolution? Revolution had 3 matches on the buy-in. The buy-in was essentially made into a Sunday night version of AEW Rampage, and it was probably the best pre-show that any wrestling company has ever put on in the modern era. The buy-in for Revolution was an excellent buy-in. The best buy-in they've ever done. Layla Hirsch and Chris Statlander had a decent match. Hook, he remained dominant over QT Marshall. And then we had a fantastic trios match with the House of Black, Pac, Penta, and Eric Redbeard. That is exactly how a pre-show should be. The pre-show is not a downgrade. It's not. People need to stop looking at the pre-show as a downgrade. The pre-show is something that can be used to get the crowd hyped for the inevitable matches to come. The pre-show is a great starter, a great way to get the blood pumping through the fans' veins. So at the end of the day, if you're going to do 12 to 13 matches, format them the same way that you formatted Revolution's card with 3 matches on the buy-in. 3 matches on the buy-in, 9 to 10 matches on the main show, and we're out of there before midnight. If they took and placed Kyle O'Reilly and Darby Allin, and then the 6-person tag team match between Sammy, Frankie Tay, and American Top Team, then at the end of the fucking day, we would have been out of there before 12, and the show would have flowed a lot better. Those matches would have been better well received if they were actually on the pre-show. The match order is as important as anything when it comes to big shows, especially pay-per-views and pay-per-views in which you only have 4 of them a year. That is a vital piece to making a pay-per-view great. It's a vital piece to the puzzle. The match formatting on this show, horrendous. I hated the fact that we had 50 fucking minutes of a fucking buy-in pre-show in which they were nothing but fucking promo packages. Why do we need that? 50 minutes of promo package and 5 minutes of actual wrestling with that Hookhausen versus Smart Mark Sterling and Tony Nese match? Why did we need that? That should have been in the middle of the buy-in as a bridge between the American Top Team and Sammy, Frankie, and Ty matchup, and then Darby Allin and Kyle O'Reilly. The American Top Team 6-person tag team match should have been the first match that we've seen on the show. That match should have kicked off the show. Then we would have had the Hookhausen match. Then Darby Allin and Kyle O'Reilly should have main evented the buy-in. That is exactly how they should have formatted the show. They botched the formatting of the show. I get that you want to get as much great talent on the show as possible. I get that you wanted to give more time to Martha Hart. And I get that you wanted to combat the NBA playoffs. But shit like this should not be happening. This should be easily rectified the next time. Every single pay-per-view, if it's going to be 11, 12, 13 matches, must be formatted exactly how Revolution was formatted. Any other way would be an absolute disaster. Now, this wasn't a complete disaster. But there were portions in the show where the crowd was a little lukewarm. And we'll talk about that. And obviously, some of the match outcomes were rather shocking. And one of them in specific, the women's Owen Hart Cup tournament matchup, and the way that it ended, obviously was not well received in the eyes of many. However, it was still a great show. Absolutely their most important show to date, and it really does go to show you that AEW is here to stay long term. And if you're not on board with what Tony Khan is doing, then clearly you don't have a brain. Clearly you don't have a passion for professional wrestling, and clearly you should not be involved in the wrestling community at all. Everything on the show had a certain level of importance. Everything on the show had a feeling of, this is exactly what professional wrestling should be. A lot of stars were presented in a big way, and everyone in the end looked good, minus a few people. But we're going to talk about it. There were a few negatives, the main negative being the match formatting and the match order. But in the end, we still got a great pay-per-view, and it will go down as the most important AEW pay-per-view to date. And we march forward toward Forbidden Door. And Forbidden Door, that's going to be a great fucking show. It's going to be a great fucking show. I can't wait for it. Thank you all. I see Shooter. He's arrived. Dylan Ketchum sticking around. I saw Psycho Dad Jesse. Hope you're doing well. Hope that your Memorial Day is going very, very, very well. Dee Dee, obviously, she's the queen over here. She's the number one mod. Do not fuck with her, or else she's going to block you within the blink of an eye. You don't fuck with DJ Storms and the posse, all right? Just a little warning towards anyone that tries to fuck with me, okay? Regardless of that, we're going to get into the matches in just a little bit and the happenings of Double or Nothing in just a little bit. But first things first, please make sure you follow me on social media at HistoryMakerDJS. That is at HistoryMakerDJS on both Twitter and Instagram. Add me on Facebook for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all of those links are in the description, as well as the links to the Lightning Flash update from this past weekend, in which we talked about Sasha and Naomi's situation becoming worse. Kenny Omega's return date is not even close. And on top of that, we had Stephanie McMahon taking a leave of absence, and why she's taking a leave of absence, and what potentially caused her to take this leave of absence. Plus, we reviewed Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, and Rampage from last week. Go check that out. If you missed it, the link is in the description, as well as the link to the vlog from my ISPW War to Settle the Score weekend, in which I was in the Total PAL for Independent Superstars of Pro Wrestling's War to Settle the Score show. It was a very entertaining show. I'm slowly becoming a mainstay fan there over at ISPW. Shout out to Bam Cristiano, who is a loyal supporter of the channel. I greatly appreciate Bam Cristiano and everything that he's done for me, all the support that he's shown me. And I do hope to see him at the next show in Butler, New Jersey, where Danny Morrison is reportedly defending his ISPW World Heavyweight Championship against Tommy Dreamer. Should be a very entertaining match. Should be a very entertaining show as well. So go check out those two videos. The links are in the description. Shout out to Mitch Kofsky. Who joined me yesterday afternoon at around 2 p.m. Eastern time, where me and him, yes, Mitch Kofsky's in the chat. Shout out to Mitch Kofsky. He was on the show yesterday afternoon, where we preview and predicted everything going down at Double or Nothing. So one day I do hope to work with Mitch Kofsky again in the near future. He is a phenomenal individual. Shout out to Hooligan and Earl Cole. He joined at the right time because I'm about to get to his favorite part of the stream. First things first, obviously, before we get to Earl's favorite part of the stream, when you come on in, hit that like button, people. So far, we are at exactly 9 likes. We need more likes than that. We are at 9 likes right now. I think we can get further up the ladder than just 9 likes. So when you come on in, hit that like button and be sure to share out the stream on all platforms of social media. I'm talking about Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever social media platforms that you may use. I am a little exhausted, but let me tell you something. I am very much excited to review this. I've been waiting for the last 24 hours, and I do like the fact that I can take a break, I can sleep, and then I can review it afterwards. It's a much better strategy for me, to say the least. Please make sure you share out the stream, like I said, on all platforms of social media. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube because it's the only time that you're going to get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination, this beautiful mustache right here. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Here we go, baby. We're going to light it up right here. Before we get into the festivities, let's light it up right here with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of Because like Campbell's soup, I'm so good. Be sure to notify everyone DJ Storms is live on YouTube because everybody wants a piece of the Storms Meister. Everybody needs a little bit of DJ Storms in their life. Anyway, enough of these self-brand promotion. Let's get right into the show. The buy-in pre-show. We had the Acclaimed. They came out with the Gun Club. They did their usual shtick. Austin and Colton Gunn tried to do Anthony Bowen's shtick where they would say the pay-per-view name. They got the pay-per-view name wrong. Austin said Full Gear. Colton said All Out. And Bowens actually got it right. Bowens then got the crowd to chant, Ass Boys. I don't know what it is, but ironically, oddly enough, this partnership is somehow working. It's actually one of the more lighthearted things on the show. And I don't mind it considering the majority of shit that we see on AEW Dynamite is very serious, and that's exactly what I want. This type of comedy is the good type of comedy because it's not overexposed. So, oddly enough, this partnership is somehow working. I don't know where they go with it, but it's somehow working. Eddie Kingston, he cut a fantastic promo on the buy-in, very heartfelt, making he made Jericho the reason why he's drinking again and why he's trying to drown his demons, but his demons can swim. This was a fantastic promo by Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston can legitimately sell anything. Eddie Kingston is so fucking good at what he does, and before he retires, he should absolutely get at least a TNT title run. He is so fucking good at what he does. Buy-in match. Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling, they took on Hookhausen. This was Danhausen and Hook. Danhausen didn't look too bad. I will say this, Danhausen did not look too bad. I didn't really know what to expect from Danhausen. Clearly, he was an over-the-top gimmick. I was not all in on Danhausen when we first got into AEW, getting in a partnership with Danhausen and signing Danhausen, but Danhausen, he's grown on me. I hate to admit it, but hey, he's grown on me. And I think that Danhausen is going to grow on a lot of fucking people. He's going to grow on a lot of people. And this partnership with Hookhausen, it's working. So this was a fun little match. It went about 5.5 minutes. It was quick. It was fairly decent. Danhausen looked good. He hit a very nice Hurricane Rana on Nese. He took a beating. Nese hit a back elbow on Danhausen. He was taking some nice bumps. Hook eventually got the hot tag. Hook took out Nese and Sterling with a couple of suplexes. He hit a necklock suplex on Sterling, which dropped him right on his neck. Then he tagged in Danhausen. Danhausen put his foot over Smart Mark Sterling's chest and did the curse pose. And Hookhausen won. You know, I'm actually thinking about this in terms of a long-term story and a long-term payoff for Hookhausen. If I'm booking this, I'm absolutely keeping these two together for a while. And I'm having these two go on a nice little win streak and inevitably get a tag team title match. because I don't know why. I have a feeling we could get a Daniel Bryan-esque reaction. Remember when Bryan Danielson, then Daniel Bryan, he shed the Wyatt family skin in that steel cage against Bray Wyatt, and we had that great fucking moment with him in Providence, Rhode Island, doing the fucking yes chant and everyone doing it in unison. The reaction was so fucking loud. I honestly think we could get that type of reaction with Hookhausen. The same type of reaction that Pat McAfee got at WrestleMania. Because Pat McAfee, oh my God, he was probably one of the most over acts on WrestleMania 38 show across both nights. We could get a loud fucking reaction for Hookhausen. And it would be a great thing to see them fight for the tag team titles and them get that loud of a reaction. But ultimately, they will lose. And I'm thinking about this in terms of making Hook even more savage. If we get these two going on a nice little winning streak and then fighting for the tag team titles against whoever the champions are, Hookhausen losing with Danhausen taking the pin and Hook betraying Danhausen afterwards and turning on him, turning into a savage killer, turning into a heel, that would make Hook more over, and it would get sympathy on Danhausen. At the end of this, it's all to make Hook look good. And Hook, turning on Danhausen after they lose a great tag team title match with Danhausen taking the pin, that would really take Hook up a few notches as a top-tier killer. That's just me. I would love to see that. I think that would be a great story to tell, and it would get Hook more over than he already is. I would absolutely do a tag team title match with these two, and I would absolutely have Hook turn on Danhausen after Danhausen loses the match. But this was a fun little match, and Hookhausen got the win. Crowd was into him. The main show kicked off with MJF and Wardlow. This was the free or fired match, as I dubbed it. If Wardlow won, he would be free of MJF, and he could sign a contract with All Elite Wrestling. But if MJF won, then Wardlow could never, ever sign a contract with All Elite Wrestling so long as he is alive. We weren't sure what to expect from this after the stunt that MJF pulled a couple days ago on Saturday. MJF's music did hit. It hit. Nobody came out initially, but MJF did eventually come out. He looked disgusted. He looked like he almost didn't even want to be there, but going around, according to the reports, he showed up right before the show started, and afterwards he just got on a jet and went straight back to Plainview, Long Island, New York. Now, he was over as fuck as a heel. He got the biggest heel reaction of the night. He actually did a fucking plane motion in the ring as if he was flying away on a plane and then flipped off the crowd with sign language, fuck you. Now, that was awesome. That was awesome by MJF. So MJF knows how to get the fucking heat. Wardlow came out with his Goldberg-like entrance accompanied by security, and we get this match. I went over this with Mitch Kofsky yesterday and the whole ordeal with MJF. Apparently, it's now come out that MJF feels threatened by the ex-WWE stars coming in and taking his spot. Tony Khan apparently offered MJF a contract extension with more money. So he got to MJF with more money, but he wants a contract extension, and MJF apparently refused. He wants the money now. So Tony Khan, he's trying to reason with MJF. He gave him the offer. He's giving him more money. He's giving him more money, and he's offering him a contract extension with that extra cash. All Tony Khan wants is the trust of MJF. And MJF clearly is not giving Tony Khan that trust. I get knowing your worth. I get knowing your worth, and I get wanting better for yourself. I respect that. We all want better for someone. If you are not fighting for better for yourself, then clearly you've become complacent. MJF is not a complacent individual, so I get where he's coming from. He wants to get that paycheck, and he wants to get that big money type of deal, and he feels threatened with what's going on and all these superstars coming in making more money than him. He feels threatened. He feels that his position is threatened, which I don't understand how. And I said this once, I'll say it again. MJF has been presented like the most important act, the most important thing on the show that's not the World Championship and whoever is holding it. So I don't understand how exactly MJF feels threatened. If anything, if he feels threatened after everything that he's been given, and he hasn't even been given a title yet he has been the most important thing on Dynamite that's not the world champion. His feuds with Jericho, his feuds with Punk, feud with Darby, his matches with Sammy and Jungle Boy, and everything that he's done, him beating some of the biggest stars in the company right now, Darby, Sammy, Jungle Boy, CM Punk. He beat Chris Jericho 3 fucking times. So I don't understand how he feels that his position is threatened. On top of that, he was going to be the world champion within the next year. He was slated to be the guy to take the title off of CM Punk, who is now the world champion, which we will talk about. He was slated to be that guy, and not only that, the right fees, the copyright fees are being boosted for AEW, which is going to make Tony Khan an easy $135+ million, whenever that may be. And you know that's coming sooner rather than later. What about the video game? The video game is going to make him a shit ton of money too. The money is going to be there. The money is going to be there. I don't understand why MJF is like, give it to me now, give it to me now, give it to me now. I don't understand how he doesn't have trust in Tony Khan after everything that he's been given. He has the entire world in his hands. He legitimately has had the entire world in his hands, and he hasn't even won a fucking title there yet. If anything, MJF is coming off like an impatient prick. The money's going to come. The world title reign's going to come. And everything is going to come in due time. I don't understand why everyone in this era has lost the concept of patience. Patience is a fucking virtue. Patience is a virtue. I have dealt with an intestinal condition for the last 5+ years of my life. It's only up until the last year in which I've really started to feel great, and I've started to feel like I did before I was diagnosed with this condition. How would it have looked if I had thrown in the towel? Yeah, I complained. Yeah, I bitched and moaned. I was frustrated, but I didn't just give up and throw in the towel, and I didn't feel threatened and insecure. I fought through the pain. I did whatever I needed to do to get better, and right now I'm in the best position that I've ever been since I've been diagnosed with this condition. Patience helped me get through that. Patience is a virtue. People need to grasp on that concept of patience. I don't understand why it is so lost nowadays. I really don't. MJF is coming off like an impatient prick. And if he legitimately feels threatened by all these ex-WWE superstars coming on in and making more money than he is for the time being only, and if he honestly feels that his position is threatened, then that's an MJF problem. If anything, MJF poses more of a threat to them than they do to him. MJF is the most over act on the show, heel or babyface. Every single time he comes out, he gets the biggest fucking reaction out of anyone that is on that show. He generates the most minute-for-minute viewers on Dynamite, and at the end of it all, he's at the top of his fucking game. And he's not even 30 yet. He's not even in his prime yet. He is at the top of his fucking game right now. He really is. So if he feels threatened, then you know what? That's an MJF problem. That's an insecurity issue that he's going to have to tackle on his own. That's not Tony Khan's problem. That's not AEW's problem. That's not these ex-WWE superstars' problem. That's not the fans' problem. That's MJF's problem. And MJF went about this entire situation in the wrong way completely. And this match, honestly, besides making Wardlow a big star, which it did, it honestly felt like a punishment. It legit felt like a punishment towards MJF. And I guess that was probably the best way to go about it. This was a very, very, very ballsy move to put it on first, but it ended up working out well. And MJF, he even texted Sean Ross Sapp after the show saying something along the lines of he did what he needed to do. He's on a plane. He's going back. He's got a lot of reflecting to do. I don't know what's going to happen. If I'm to make a guess, I'm guessing that Tony Khan is either going to give MJF some time off, and he'll probably sit down with MJF and try and talk out these issues, and we'll see if MJF puts his faith and trust in Tony Khan, or we could very well see MJF on the free agency line very, very soon. I honestly don't know what is going on. I honestly don't know what's going on. I don't know how this is going to transpire. I honestly feel like this may end up being a situation in which nobody's going to know up until the final decision is made and the report gets out there. Everything's going to be kept close to the chest with MJF, with Tony Khan. I think that he is going to sit down with MJF. He's going to talk things out. And if an agreement is not reached, then I do believe that MJF is inevitably going to go bye-bye. And he's no longer going to be with AEW as of right now. The match itself was essentially a glorified squash match. MJF, he got out there, the crowd chanting, fuck him up towards Wardlow. MJF rolled out of the ring, tried for a cheap shot. Wardlow just shrugged it off. They played a little cat and mouse. MJF with an eye poke as well. He tried to wear down Wardlow. The crowd chanted, fuck you, MJF. MJF faked the leg injury. MJF got to the ring. The ref took the Dynamite Diamond ring from him. Him and Wardlow were standing over MJF like, are you fucking serious, man? And the ref took it from him. MJF then goes, I'll double your pay, Wardlow. I'll triple your pay. I will quadruple your pay. So they shook hands. Wardlow didn't let go. MJF knew that this was going to be the moment where he was going to get fucked up. Powerbomb Symphony starts up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 powerbombs. 1, 2 count. Wardlow takes his foot off of MJF. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 powerbombs. MJF powerbombed into oblivion. And a 1, 2, 3. Wardlow gets the win. Wardlow is officially free. Wardlow is all elite. After the match, MJF was stretchered away on a gurney, and MJF was then wheeled out on a stretcher. Tony Schiavone interviewed Wardlow and told him that Tony Khan said that he is officially all elite. Wardlow is a made man after this match. Wardlow is a made man. Wardlow is at the top of his game, and Wardlow, he's going to be their next big star. And if I'm booking this, I am giving Wardlow the TNT Championship before the year ends. I could see him in an interim feud, maybe with a Sammy Guevara, maybe with a Team Taz, Ricky Starks, and Powerhouse Hobbs. That could be some decent matches right there. I'd love to see those matches. Give Sky a legit reign, and then after Wardlow has gotten done with Sammy and Team Taz, give me Wardlow and Scorpio Sky probably at Full Gear. And let me see Wardlow beat Scorpio Sky to become the new TNT champion. That is how I would do it. That's how I would do it. As far as MJF goes, again, like I said, I have no idea what's going on. And at the end of it, MJF is just coming off like an impatient fuck. He's coming off like an entitled prick. He really is. And if he's insecure about the ex-WWE guys coming in and making more money than him just for the time being, when we all know that he's going to get a world title and he's going to get a pay raise as well, then that insecurity, that's something that he's going to have to tackle on his own. There's no reason for MJF to be insecure. MJF is a made man, and he hasn't even won a fucking title yet. MJF is, again, the most over act on the show. MJF is the entire show, pretty much. Without MJF, the show would be worse. But at the end of it all, I don't know. Something tells me that this is MJF's last match in AEW. I don't know why. I'd like to hope not, because I would love to see the storybook ending between him and CM Punk, but I don't know. Maybe he really is an asshole. Maybe MJF's gimmick is not a gimmick. Maybe he really is an asshole. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but congratulations to Wardlow. Wardlow is a made man. Young Bucks versus the Hardys. A lot of people did not know what to expect coming into this match, but at the end of it, we got an excellent tag team match. This was an excellent tag team match, and I was very much pleased with what I saw. And people were trying to discredit Jeff Hardy. They were trying to say that, oh, the Hardy Boys are old. Oh, they can't go anymore. Oh, he looks drunk. I don't know where you're coming up with this shit, especially considering that Matt Hardy, he's right there with Jeff to watch over him. So to say that they're drunk and, oh, God, they're old, no, of course not. If you want me to tell you what the issue was, the main issue here with Jeff in this match, if you guys are wondering, he looked to be hurt. He looked to be concussed. And it reminded me of what happened with The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar back at WrestleMania 30 when Brock Lesnar accidentally dropped The Undertaker on his head and he was concussed for the entire match. That is what it looked like. But Jeff Hardy, he was not drunk. He was not out of it. He's not old. They can still go just fine. This match proved that they can still go at a high level. This was an excellent tag team match. But I do believe that Jeff Hardy was hurt. I don't know where it was. I'm not sure where he got dropped on his head. I'm not sure if he caught a forearm strike from one of the Bucks and the elbow, it landed in the wrong place and it may have injured his head. I'm not sure what happened, but he looked to be concussed. Jeff looked to be concussed. He looked very loopy. He looked like he was walking on air. He looked to be concussed. Either a concussion, a migraine, something related to the head. Something related to the head. That is what it looked like. That is what it looked like. Regardless of that, Jeff Hardy, he pulled through it, whatever it was. And the second half of this match, much better than the first half. The first half was a little technical, a little slow, but in the end, the Hardys and the Bucks, they pulled out an excellent tag team match. And this was one of the best matches of the night. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy are just fine. And this is going to result in, I believe it should result in them winning the tag team titles and ultimately retiring after they lose the tag team titles. That is how it should go. So we had some technical back and forth with older and younger brothers. The Hardys were in control. We had some double team action. We had an enziguri by Nick, and the Bucks kind of slowed their pace down to keep up with the Hardys. So Jeff was isolated. Jeff came back with a whisper in the wind. His boot actually came undone. I'm not sure how that happened, but his boot actually came undone. And I'm guessing he didn't really notice it because, again, it looked like he was legitimately concussed. So Matt Hardy, he got the hot tag. Matt Hardy took a beating in this match. Props to Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy and Nick Jackson, they got into it. We had buckle smashes to both of the Bucks and Brandon Cutler. We had a side effect on Nick. That got it too. Nick with a punt kick, a face buster on Jeff. Matt Hardy caught a wrecking ball drop kick, super kick by Nick, sending Jeff into Matt Hardy and Matt Jackson. We had a big dive by Nick, an Escalera dive onto the Hardys. The Bucks with a little bit of risky business, but Matt Hardy kicked out. We had a big knee by Nick Jackson, but Nick Jackson accidentally hit a punt kick on Cutler. So then Jeff with a diving clothesline off the apron. We had a side effect by Matt Hardy on the apron to Matt Jackson, which looked awesome. Poetry in motion by the Hardys. The Bucks then took over. Hardy with a jawbreaker to Matt on the top rope. He went for the Swanton bomb, but he missed it. He missed it. We had a twist of fate by Matt Jackson and then a Swanton bomb by Nick Jackson. Jeff Hardy just kick out. Great near fall. Impactful kick out by Jeff Hardy. So Jeff Hardy, he was fighting through the pain, whatever it was. BTE trigger missed. We had a double super kick party to Matt and Jeff Hardy. Back and forth. The Hardys were flipping off the Young Bucks. We had super kicks over and over and over again. Matt was busted open at the mouth. Double covers, double kick out. All of a sudden, they took the steps. Of course they took the fucking steps. Jeff was placed on the steps, but Matt Hardy, he fought back. He had a crucifix powerbomb on Nick Jackson. I believe it was Matt Jackson. And then Nick Jackson was placed on the steps, which were placed sideways. Jeff Hardy with a swanton bomb onto Nick Jackson, onto the steps. Matt Hardy with a twist of fate. Awesome twist of fate. Awesome sell. And Nick kicked out. Nick kicked out. Awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. Side effect again. We had a second twist of fate and a swanton bomb, and the Hardys win. Jeff then went through the crowd and just started high-fiving everyone. I guess that was a shot at what happened with WWE. Just high-fiving everyone. He came back to the ring. I didn't know if it was a work or a shoot, but he ended up coming back to the ring, and he celebrated with Matt as the Hardy Boys got the win over the Young Bucks. This was the right outcome. No reason for the Bucks to win. The Bucks are already made men. The Bucks are kind of in the Chris Jericho role for the time being, and that's a perfect role for them because they really don't need to win right now, and new, fresh faces are getting the spotlight at this rate. So I am very much looking forward to seeing who the Hardys face off against and who they beat for the Tag Team Championships. Could it be Jurassic Express? Do we see Jurassic Express beat whoever faces them, whether it be Team Taz or Private Party, Gun Club, whatever, whoever they face? Do we see them going to All Out? Do we see them going to All Out? And do we see Jurassic Express versus the Hardys, with the Hardys getting the tag team titles, and then maybe at the end of the year, at Full Gear, do we see the Hardys act as transitional champions and drop the titles to FTR? I don't know. Could be. It's a possibility. I would not mind it, but I don't know. It's a very, very interesting scenario. We have a lot of tag teams that could be in line for the tag team titles. Team Taz, Hardys, FTR, a lot of House of Black, Blackpool Combat Club, Jericho Appreciation Society. There's a lot of interesting material to come in the tag team division. That's their bread and butter right now. But this was an excellent tag team match, and the Hardys get the win. They can still go. They can still go. They're a little bit on the older side, but let me tell you, they can still go. They can still go. Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill versus Anna Jay. This was for the TBS Championship. This wasn't a bad match. They worked well together. I don't think it was better than their last match. I think their first match was better, but this wasn't a terrible match. But this was probably one of the weakest matches on the show. And this match would have actually benefited if this match was on the pre-show as well. This match could have easily been on the pre-show, and I don't think anyone would have batted an eye. This match and Darby and Kyle O'Reilly could have been on the pre-show. But I'm not Tony Khan. He wanted to get Jade Cargill on the show, which I get. I get it. Again, it wasn't shit. It wasn't complete dog shit, but again, it was just kind of there. Jade, she got a great champion entrance with the Las Vegas Showgirls. She's a superstar. We had some quick, fast-paced action. Jade got the advantage with a fall-away slam. Jade then with a corner avalanche. Jade went up to the top, but Anna Jay stopped her and caught Jade with a superplex. Jay with a spin kick in the corner. She went up to the top, and she hit a top rope blockbuster on Jade Cargill. So pulling out something new. The baddies came out, did Red Velvet and Kiera Hogan, and she delivered double DDTs to the baddies back in the ring. Jade with a punt kick. She went for the Jaded, but Anna Jay rolled her up for a 2 count. We had a thrust kick by Anna Jay. Smart Mark Sterling came out to cause a distraction. Jay with a Russian leg sweep with the crutch behind the referee's back. Jade kicked out. John Silver then came out, delivered a beautiful brainbuster to Mark Sterling. We had the Eye of the Storm by Jade Cargill, which looked very nice. Jay still kicked out. Jay with a roll-up, and then she locked in the Queenslayer. This actually popped the crowd. Crowd was thinking that Jay was going to tap out Jade Cargill, but it was not going to happen. So both women were on the top. Jade was out of it for the time being. All of a sudden, Stokely Hathaway, a.k.a. Malcolm Bivens, he made his debut, which was fucking awesome. This was some awesome shit. Stokely Hathaway came out, and he was pointing at Anna Jay. He was distracting Anna Jay, and all of a sudden, Jay was distracted. Jade with the jaded slam from the middle rope, which looked a lot better than the first one than she did on Ruby Soho. This was a decent-looking Jaded from the middle rope, and Jade Cargill successfully defends the TBS Championship. Not a terrible match, but again, really one of the weakest matches on the show. Could have easily benefited from being on the pre-show, especially considering that it was going to be very, very hard for them to follow the Hardys versus the Bucks. That was going to be a tough task, and unfortunately, they could not do it. But Chris Statlander then came out. She stood face-to-face with the baddies. So it was Anna Jay and Chris Statlander staring off with Kiera Hogan, Red Velvet, and Chris Statlander. All of a sudden, the fallen goddess, Athena, showed up. Yes, the former Ember Moon. Athena showed up, hyped as ever. She stood face-to-face, and we got a verbal sparring session between all 6 women, and Stokely Hathaway backed the baddies off. This is the main story. The match, it was kind of just there. It wasn't bad, but it was just there. This is the main story. Athena and Stokely Hathaway. Stokely Hathaway managing the baddies. This is a great thing because now this is just going to add to the baddies act. This is going to make Jade into a bigger star, and it's going to make the baddies stay relevant even after Jade Cargill loses the TBS Championship, which I believe should be to Chris Statlander. And as far as Athena goes, Athena, let me tell you something. Athena is going to be a megastar in that women's division. She could very well be next in line to take the title off of Thunderosa if they want her to. They want her to. Who knows? Should be very, very, very interesting. I think that this is a great move. This is going to be a very, very interesting time. The women's division's fucking loaded. Anyone that tells you that the AEW women's division is not stacked and the division is not great, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, clearly. If you're supporting what fucking Bimbo Lynch is doing and what Ronda Rousey's doing and all these fucking idiots over there on Raw and SmackDown and Shotzi Blackheart and the fact that she's going to get released soon and how terrible this Dana Brooke Reggie storyline is, if you're over there supporting that shit, by all means do that. Go support garbage. I'm over here supporting a great women's division that now just added another phenomenal athlete in Athena. That's awesome. The division has just been ramped up to an 11. Trios match. House of Black versus the Death Triangle. This, up until this point, was the best match of the night. This was a chaotic war. This was all over the place. And in the end, we got the right outcome with yet another member of the House of Black being revealed. And it was a perfect story to be told. This was an excellent match, probably one of the best matches of the night. House of Black and Death Triangle absolutely killed it. The House of Black, they came out all wearing matching face paint. Their entrance was phenomenal. All of them wearing matching face paint. Death Triangle all wore masks, including Pac, a half Rey Fenix, half Penta style mask. Penta and Matthews, they got into it. Some really good stuff there by both men. We had some super kicks, but Matthews recovered. He tagged in Brody King. All 3 of each member of the team, all 3 members of House of Black and all 3 members of Death Triangle, they faced off. We got a big brawl. Brody King absolutely leveled Pac with a clothesline. Absolutely leveled him. We had a springboard sling blade by Penta, Meteora by Matthews, Pac with a reverse Rana on Matthews. There is no way to make that fucking move look safe. I do not envy anyone that has to take that move. All of a sudden, we had a big lariat by Brody King. Brody King then with a boss man slam on Pac, tag to Malachi Black, tag back to Brody. They slowed the pace down and they isolated Pac. Brody missed the cannonball. Pac tagged in Phoenix. He lit up everyone. We had super kicks to Matthews, double dives by the Lucha Bros onto King and Malachi. We had some double team splashes on the Death Triangle. We had a brainbuster by Matthews on the floor. Spaceman plancha by Pac. Moonsault by Black. Tope con Hilo by Penta. Tope con Hilo by Brody. This shit was all over the fucking place. Crowd was going fucking nuts. They hit Dante's Inferno, but Pac and Phoenix broke it up. Death Triangle with super kicks. We had a brainbuster by Pac for a damn near close 2 count. We had a Canadian Destroyer by Penta to Matthews on the apron. And then we had a foot stomp DDT on King by the Lucha Bros. Malachi Black then was surrounded. So what did Malachi do? The same thing that Randy Orton does when he's surrounded. Randy Orton just starts hitting RKOs out of nowhere. Malachi Black with Sin Eaters out of nowhere. Sin Eater spin kick to Penta. Sin Eater spin kick to Phoenix. Pac then had Black right where he wanted him. Matthews tried to cause a distraction. Pac with a 450 on Black, and he went back up to the top. All of a sudden, lights go out. Referee was distracted. All of a sudden, Julia Hart comes out of fucking nowhere behind the referee's back, spits the Black Mist into Pac's face. Malachi Black with the Sin Eater, and the House of Black get the win. They remain undefeated as a trio. Absolutely the right outcome. And we see Julia Hart joining the House of Black. This is great. This is awesome. I think a female presence in the House of Black as a manager, because Julia Hart, listen, she's decent, but she's not ready for a main role in the women's division as far as an in-ring perspective goes. She's not. Being a managerial role to the House of Black, that would suit her well for the time being until she really improves in the ring. As far as House of Black goes, let me tell you something. I know people are calling for the Blackpool Combat Club to become the first ever Trios champions, but I'm telling you, man, it's very hard for me to go against the House of Black. If you're asking me, I would absolutely put those titles on the House of Black. They are just too fucking good. Hey, for all we know, House of Black could very well win the AEW World Tag Team Championships from Jurassic Express. Maybe we see House of Black versus the Hardys and the Broken Hardys become a thing. Maybe we see that. Who the fuck knows? Maybe we see another Ultimate Deletion, the Elite Deletion, something like that. Maybe we see something like that going forward with House of Black going to the Hardy family compound and potentially mixing it up with the Hardys and Senor Benedict and fucking King Maxwell and Rebby Hardy. Maybe we see something along those lines. That right there could very well be the case. It is a very interesting scenario, but House of Black, for me, I would absolutely put the Trios titles on them. Blackpool Combat Club, listen, they're just fine as they are without the Trios championships. They could be the next Trios champions after the House of Black. I would absolutely put those titles on the House of Black. They may even win the tag team titles. Who the fuck knows? But this was an awesome fucking match. Chaotic fucking war. And I didn't think that this could be topped. As far as a war, a chaotic war goes. And then we got the fucking Anarchy in the Arena match, which we're going to go over later. But holy shit, this was a great fucking match. Excellent fucking trios match. I don't know, but I think that these two factions may have topped what the Shield and the Wyatts did. I really think that they did. This was awesome. This was fucking amazing if I've ever seen it. Really awesome stuff right here. House of Black win, right outcome, and Julia Hart is officially a member of the House of Black. Adam Cole for Samoa Joe. This was the men's Owen Hart Cup Tournament Finals. These two individuals finally getting the payoff from that NXT feud that we saw all the way back in the summer of 2021. This was a very good match. Went a little short. It only went about 13 minutes, but it was still a very good match. The main problem was, again, it was going to be very hard for anyone to follow what the Hardys did and then what the House of Black and Death Triangle did. But I am happy that these two got the finals, and we got a very good match. The crowd was a little tame, but it was still a very good match. Joe was in control early. He had a nice enziguri in the corner. Cole could not get anything going. So Joe was trash talking to Cole. He goes, "Come on, baby." And he just punched the shit out of Cole. Joe's great. Cole finally got a super kick, and then he drove Samoa Joe's shoulder into the post. Cole then took over. He targeted the shoulder. Joe caught Cole with a modified knee buster, which actually looked pretty good. And I would not want to be in the receiving end of that. You could very well hurt your fucking shins, break your kneecap, tear an MCL, ACL, something along those lines. Excuse me. So Joe mounted a comeback with a corner Uranagi, running senton and a power slam, though both those moves got separate 2 counts, and Cole kicked out. Cole then with a running high knee for a 2. Backstabber by Adam Cole for a 2, and then he transitioned right into a crossface. Joe was just able to get his foot on the rope. Joe was selling the shoulder. He then delivered a power bomb, transitioned into the STF. Cole was in pain. Cole then got to the ropes. Bobby Fish out of nowhere came out, and he went for the shoulder. He went for the shoulder of Adam Cole, and not Adam Cole. He went for the shoulder of Samoa Joe, excuse me. He went for the shoulder of Samoa Joe, bounced it off the top rope. Adam Cole with a punt kick. He went for the boom, but he missed. Joe locked in the coquina clutch. Joe tried to take out Fish again. Cole super kicks over and over. I think he delivered about 4 super kicks. One of them was to the shoulder. Joe screamed in Adam Cole's face. He's like, "Hit me again, hit me again." Cole did it again. And then he delivered the boom right to the back of the neck, and Adam Cole won clean. Adam Cole won 1, 2, 3, plain and simple, and Adam Cole is the winner of the first ever men's Owen Hart Cup tournament. This was, again, a very good match. A little quick, a little short, but it was still a very good match. Samoa Joe and Adam Cole are 2 great professional wrestlers. The one thing that kind of confused me is no Jay Lethal. I don't know why we did not see Jay Lethal. I could have almost bet my money that Jay Lethal was going to come out and cost Samoa Joe the match against Adam Cole, because they're going into a feud, and I would like to believe maybe even at Forbidden Door we could see Samoa Joe versus Jay Lethal for the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. So I'm actually quite puzzled as to why we didn't see Jay Lethal. I'm guessing that they wanted to give Adam Cole a somewhat of a clean win. Fish didn't factor into the ending, but he certainly caused a distraction enough for Adam Cole to get the victory. But either way, Adam Cole was the right winner here, because Adam Cole, he's coming off 2 big losses. He's coming off 2 big losses, both against Adam Page, one of them in the main event of Revolution, and then the other one on Rampage in a Texas Death Match, both of them for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. So this was a much-needed win for Cole. He needed a win in a big match, and this was a big match. Cole won. This was the right outcome, and Samoa Joe, he'll be just fine. He's going into a feud with Jay Lethal, and I fully expect Jay Lethal to inevitably take that title off of Samoa Joe. And if I'm booking this, I'm giving the Ring of Honor World Television title to Lethal, and I'm putting Joe up against CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. That is what I'm looking at. That right there is the match that I got my eye on. Joe and Punk for the World Championship. Still a very good match. A little too quick. But again, they had 5 hours of a fucking pay-per-view. So there you go. Crowd was a little lukewarm, but still, Adam Cole and Joe, they pulled it off. Very good match. Certainly not match of the year worthy, but it was still a good match for what it was. Ruby Soho and Britt Baker for the Women's Owen Hart Cup Tournament Finals. I love the treatment that Ruby Soho and Britt Baker got in this. Rich Ward, Fozzie's guitarist, Rich Ward, he played Britt Baker to the ring. Great theme song. Great theme song. He looked great. He looked like he was having a fun time. He was shredding. Good shit. And then when I think it couldn't get any more awesome, we actually had Rancid show up. Yes, Rancid. Rancid, the band that plays Ruby Soho's theme song. Rancid showed up, and Rancid played the theme song for Ruby Soho to the ring. You know, destination unknown, Ruby, 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 Ruby Soho. That was awesome. That made Ruby feel fucking special. And they're a great live band. That was a great performance by Rancid. Really good stuff right there. Awesome stuff. This match, I would say, was definitely better than the match that they had at AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. I would say this is probably the second best women's match of the night, with Thunderosa and Serena Deeb obviously being the first. These two, they matched up fairly okay together. And again, the match was fine for what it was, but the ending, absolutely the wrong outcome. And we're going to talk about that. But the match itself was fine. The match itself was serviceable. And the crowd was into both women. The crowd chanting for both women. So Ruby Soho and Britt Baker, they started off rather technical. Britt Baker, she caught some clotheslines by Ruby Soho. Soho with a drop kick off the apron to Britt. We had a snap suplex on the floor as well. Baker then dropped Ruby Soho on top of the turnbuckle. Baker tried to slow the pace down. The ribs were the target of Britt Baker. She stretched Ruby Soho over the post. Ruby with some chops. We had dueling chants of "Let's go, Ruby, DMD." Ruby then caught a rolling elbow by Baker. Baker went up to the middle rope. Ruby stopped her and delivered a superplex. They traded forearm strikes back and forth. Both women went down. We had a super kick by Baker. Ruby with a back body drop, a backdrop driver. Diving senton by Ruby. This was a great diving senton by Ruby. Great near fall right there. Baker then with a curb stomp, very close near fall. Ruby kicked out. We had a lockjaw attempt, but Baker didn't get it. It started to come. We had the lockjaw. It actually started to come undone, and then Ruby transitioned after the no future. She transitioned into a sharpshooter, which looked very, very fucking sloppy. It did not look very good by Ruby Soho. Outside of that, the match itself was fine, but very, very clunky looking stuff right there. Baker inevitably got to the ropes. They traded roll-ups back and forth, and Britt Baker inevitably got the win over Ruby Soho. Good match, but absolutely the wrong outcome. And I know people are going to start making comparisons, and yes, I hear you. Britt Baker is slowly starting to become AEW's version of Charlotte Flair. Now, I get why you did it. I understand that you want to give Adam Cole and Britt Baker the moment together. But at the end of the day, that being the only reason why you did it, I'm sorry. That is not an excuse to go and give Britt Baker the Owen Hart Cup tournament after she's already had a long, lucrative reign as the AEW Women's World Champion. And she had a great reign as AEW Women's Champion. This should have been Ruby Soho's moment. Adam Cole was the right winner of the men's tournament. Ruby Soho was in the same position as Adam Cole. Adam Cole lost 2 big matches in a row. So did Ruby Soho. Why are we building Ruby Soho as an individual that can't win the big one? Where exactly is this going? This should have been Ruby Soho's moment, especially after the performance by Rancid, especially after the promos that she cut and the attire that she had on the back of her jacket. Enough is enough. It's time for a change. This should have been Ruby Soho's moment. I don't understand why it wasn't. I don't understand why we needed to give Britt Baker the tournament just because Adam Cole and Britt Baker are the power couple backstage in AEW. They're not a power couple on TV, but they are essentially AEW's non-television power couple. They have been together for X amount of years, and they are the most well-known couple and the most popular couple in AEW. So I don't understand why that has to be the reason why we need to give Britt Baker the tournament. The tournament was designed for someone like a Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho was 0-2 going into this match in big matches. This should have been Ruby Soho's moment to beat Britt Baker, avenge the loss from Dynamite Grand Slam, and get that big win. Now, where does Britt Baker go from here? Are we going to get another Thunderosa Britt Baker match? We don't need to see that again. That feud already had the storybook ending. we can revisit that feud a few years down the line. It is way too soon to revisit that feud. Britt Baker is going into an undercard feud with Toni Storm, in which Toni Storm inevitably should win. So I don't understand why exactly we are getting Britt Baker winning the tournament. It makes absolutely no sense. Very rarely does AEW get the outcome of a match wrong. Very rarely does AEW botch a moment. This was a botched moment. This was a botched ending. This was a botched winner. It should not have been Britt Baker. This tournament was for Ruby Soho. Now where does Ruby Soho go from here? Now, we could still get the heel turn. And to be quite honest with you, I would go that route. Matter of fact, I would even go a step further. I wouldn't just turn her heel. I would have her join the House of Black. I would put her in the House of Black as a female presence that can wrestle, not just be a manager. Julia Hart, like I said in the beginning when I talked about Julia Hart becoming a member of the House of Black, Julia Hart is not ready for a major role in the women's division as far as an in-ring perspective goes. Ruby Soho, oh, she's ready. She's been fucking ready. She should have won against Jade Cargill, and I still hang my hat on that. Same thing with this match here. She should have won against Britt Baker. Now, if you want to turn a negative into a positive, the right thing to do would be to have Ruby Soho snap, join the House of Black, and Thunderosa, she can do whatever she needs to do. Maybe we see a Thunderosa versus a Toni Storm match. We could see Thunderosa versus a Ty Conti now that she's full-blown heel. That would be great. We could see Thunderosa versus a Jade Cargill. And in the interim, Thunderosa defends the championship against those individuals. In the end, Ruby Soho, as a member of the House of Black, should be there at Full Gear as the top heel to take the title off of Thunderosa. I know a lot of people are calling for Sasha Banks, Mercedes Banks, whatever the fuck she's going to be called, to come on in and take the title off Thunder Rosa, but we can't hang our hat on a possibility. You need to format a solid backup plan. And Ruby Soho would be a solid plan to throw out there, have her snap, have her join the House of Black. She has the look for it. She has the satanic fucking look for it. And make them the top-tier faction that leads Ruby Soho to the AEW Women's World Championship. That is the way that I would do it. Ruby Soho joining the House of Black after just coming up short so many times. She even said it herself, enough is enough. It's time for a change. Make that change. Have Ruby Soho join the House of Black and have Ruby take the title off of Thunder Rosa when the time is right. This was absolutely the wrong outcome. This should have been Ruby Soho's moment, and the only reason why they did give Britt Baker the tournament is because of the fact that her and Adam Cole are now dual Owen Hart Cup tournament winners together, which is not the right way to go about it. Now, Martha Hart came out to make a speech. She thanked Tony Khan, Chris Jericho, the producers of Dark Side of the Ring, her kids, the AEW crew, and the fans. It was a very nice speech. It didn't go too long. And then she unveiled two very nice-looking Owen Hart Cup Tournament Championship belts and the cup. And Ruby Soho, unfortunately, she did not get her moment, but Britt Baker and Adam Cole are the winners of the Owen Hart Cup tournaments. Both tournaments, regardless of the botched ending of the women's tournament, both tournaments were very good, and I'm glad that it's going to be a yearly thing. And next year, I'd like to hope that as far as the women go, we get a better winner. Cole was the correct winner of this tournament, and I'm glad that he won. Britt was not. That's all I'm going to say about that. Frankie Kazarian, Sammy Guevara, and Ty Conti versus Men of the Year. This is the TNT champion, Scorpio Sky, and the egotistical, self-centered Ethan Page. And then we got Paige Vanzant. I don't know who the fuck produced this match. I don't know who the fuck booked this match. You know what this? It felt like fucking Pat Buck produced this match. Felt like fucking Pat Buck produced this match because he produced Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair and Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and they were two of the worst matches on the show. This felt like a Pat Buck produced match. This was not good. This was a clusterfuck. This was a legit clusterfuck. It was all over the place. It was clunky. Paige Vanzant was probably the highlight of the entire match. She did fine. Paige Vanzant did fine. But in no way, shape, or form is she ready for a big spot. She needs to continue training. And I feel as though they rushed this match. They rushed Paige Vanzant and they rushed her training with Gangrel. And ultimately, Paige Vanzant, she's going to have to spend some time actually focusing on getting better year over year. It's going to be a while before she's ready. Right now, I think Paige looks like she's in the Jade Cargill position. She was not very good early on, but I feel as though she will get better over time. But you should not be pushing Paige Vanzant to the forefront of the women's division this fucking early. Bad fucking move. I'd like to hope that they scale back and they have her continue to train for the time being until she's legitimately ready for television. But as far as she goes, she was probably the highlight of the match. She did some decent fucking material here. Everyone else, I don't know what the fuck happened here. Sammy and Ty Conti just being so lovey-dovey all over the place. I don't know what it was. This match just felt off. This felt out of place. And like I said in the beginning, this is part of the reason why match formatting and placement is so important. This match should have opened the show. It would have been much better received, and it may have come off better if it was on the pre-show rather than on the main show. I don't understand why this needed to be on the main show, and I don't understand why we needed 50 fucking minutes of a promo package on the buy-in and only 5 minutes of wrestling. Meanwhile, we got an episode of Rampage on the buy-in back at Revolution. Revolution needs to be the blueprint for all AEW pay-per-views going forward. Now, the best part about this match, outside of Paige Vanzant, is the fact that Sammy and Ty Conti embraced the heel work. They looked great. Their entrance was great. They came up from the ground. Ty Conti was dressed like Maleficent, and Sammy Guevara had this long black coat on. Sammy and Ty as heels are going to be great. And if I'm going to book this, I would absolutely, now that they're done, I would book them in a fucking feud with Wardlow. I think that Sammy would be an admirable replacement for MJF in the time being to help continue to get Wardlow over. Because I think a lot of people want to see Wardlow powerbomb Sammy Guevara. And hell, if he goes and powerbombs Ty Conti too, then so be it. I think that Wardlow, he would probably get an even bigger pop than he got here at Double or Nothing if he powerbombs Ty Conti and Sammy Guevara in the middle of the ring. That is what I'm looking at. I would absolutely put Sammy Guevara and Wardlow in a feud post Double or Nothing. That would be great. The match was not great. So Ethan Page got into it with Sammy. Ethan Page with a nice military press power slam. There were some nice spots in this match, but it was not very good. Sammy came in with a beautiful springboard cutter, and then he flipped off Paige Vanzant. Sammy Guevara and Kazarian, they had some miscommunication. This was like, this reminded me of WWE, Bruce Pritchard, Nick Khan bullshit. Can they coexist? It did not come off well. It did not. So Paige and Ty Conti inevitably got the tag. Paige with some clotheslines, a nice back suplex. She hit a back handspring elbow, a gut punch to Sammy, and then she hit a satellite DDT on Sammy Guevara, which looked very good. She dropped Ty Conti into Sammy and then delivered a Meishinuku driver for a 2. Conti then with a punt kick over and over again. We had a cover for a 1 count. Paige Vanzant kicked out, and that was pretty much the last that we saw of her for the time being. Sammy and Tay just being annoying as fuck, making out and swinging back and forth, all lovey-dovey shit. Paige, Ethan, and Sky all surrounded Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti. And Kazarian just flipped them off, left them high and dry. We had a shoulder tackle by Ethan Page, springboard cutter by Scorpio Sky, slingshot DDT by Kazarian on Sky, slingshot cutter by Frank Kazarian on Scorpio Sky, which looked very nice. That got a 2 count. And then, in the end, Conti got in Frankie's face, Sammy Guevara accidentally super kicked his girlfriend. Frankie tossed Sammy out of the ring. And this, again, like I said, just a complete clusterfuck. And it led Ethan Page to hit a roundhouse kick on Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky hit the TKO. Scorpio Sky won. Paige Vanzant did decent for what she was given, but it should not have been on the main show. Sorry. I don't really know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. This should have been reserved for the buy-in. This should have kicked off the buy-in. We should have had this match kicking off the buy-in, and then the Hookhausen match, then the Kyle O'Reilly, Darby Allin match. That should have been the buy-in. Would have made the main show a hell of a lot better. This should have been saved for the pre-show. This was a clusterfuck. Easily the worst match of the night. Easily the worst match on Double or Nothing's card, period. I'll tell you what was not bad, though. The fact that Dante Martin stood up to Scorpio Sky, and it looks like we are getting Dante Martin versus Scorpio Sky for the TNT Championship. And it looks like the TNT Championship is finally going to start being treated with a level of prestige. And Scorpio Sky is going to get a legit TNT Championship title run, which I am very happy about. He has damn sure earned it. And I think that Scorpio Sky is going to be a damn good TNT champion when we inevitably see the day in which he loses that title. I think he's going to have a pretty admirable TNT championship title reign. First, we had a very good match with Frank Kazarian. Now we got a match with Dante Martin. Now that's going to be damn good. That's going to be fucking awesome. Darby Allin versus Kyle O'Reilly. Again, like I said, this should have been moved to the buy-in. It would have been much better received. The crowd was pretty much dead for this. Very dead for this. Not to say it was a bad match. It was a very physical match. Only went about 10 minutes. These two men beat the shit out of each other. So I'm not complaining about the match per se. I'm not complaining about the match per se, but it was just very, 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 very quiet. It did not come off well at all. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure why they decided to place this match on the show last minute. I really don't have an answer for you there. I really don't have an answer for you there at all. And to be quite honest with you, this kind of brought the show down a little bit. It brought the show down a little bit, not in the sense that it was a terrible match, but in the sense that it really made the show feel more like a 6-hour, 7-hour WrestleMania. That's why I said this should have been on the buy-in. It would have been much better well received on the buy-in, and the crowd, at least at home on the East Coast, we would have been in bed before midnight. This cannot be a reoccurring thing. This needs to be rectified, and we need to have no more than 9 matches on the main show where it only goes till about 11:55. That's it. Not to say this was a bad match, though, because this was a very, very physical fucking match. Both these men beat the shit out of each other. So O'Reilly took the fight to Darby right out of the gate. We had a knee to the face. Darby was busted open at the mouth. We had a leg sweep as well. Darby with a drop kick to the knee. Code red for a 2. Darby then with a scorpion death drop on Kyle O'Reilly. We had a rolling elbow by O'Reilly. Stunner by Darby. Darby with a very awful-looking suicide dive. It looked like he got caught up in the ropes. I don't know what the fuck happened there, but it did not look good. Looked like he clipped the bottom rope. He went for another suicide dive. He connected with this one perfectly, but O'Reilly caught him mid-suicide dive, mid-air, into a guillotine, which looked fucking phenomenal. That was probably the best spot of the entire match. Back in the ring, we had a Hurricane Rana roll through into the Last Supper for a 2 count by Darby. O'Reilly then with a brain buster into the cross-arm breaker. Then he transitioned into an ankle lock. Darby then transitioned into a Scorpion Death Lock, which didn't look very good at all. I don't know what it was with Scorpion Death Locks and sharpshooters, but the only one that actually looked decent was the one that Punk applied later on in the show. So Kyle inevitably got to the ropes. O'Reilly was then dropped on the ropes. Darby with a coffin drop. While Kyle O'Reilly, he was hanging like dirty laundry being washed, and he was hanging out like clothes drying on a clothesline. And we saw Darby Allin with a coffin drop to a dangling Kyle O'Reilly on the ropes onto the apron. Another great spot. O'Reilly and Darby, then they were back in the ring. O'Reilly went back in the ring. Darby went for another coffin drop. He went for another fucking coffin drop. O'Reilly countered into a cross-arm breaker. Darby got free. They traded strikes back and forth, slaps and kicks. Both men go down. O'Reilly then used Darby's chain against him, actually snapped the chain by using it against him. We had a PK kick party. We had a penalty kick party, back and forth, penalty kick after penalty kick. Darby wouldn't go down. O'Reilly finally dropped Darby with one final penalty kick, and then he hit a diving knee drop to the back, and he won a very physical match. Great hard-hitting match, but very dead crowd. Like I said, this should have been on the pre-show with Kyle O'Reilly and Darby Allin main eventing the show. This would have come off a lot well. What happens now? I don't know. The outcome surprised me. The outcome surprised the shit out of me. I thought that this was going to be Darby's match to take, considering Darby wanted revenge after what Kyle O'Reilly did to Sting. So I don't know where this came from. I'm guessing they want to make the Undisputed Elite look strong, considering that they've been losing some big matches as of lately. O'Reilly and Fish failed to win the tag team championships. And then we got Adam Cole. He lost to Adam Page 2 times. I'm guessing that they wanted to give O'Reilly the win to kind of make him look strong. And I do believe that this is not over. I do believe that we will see Sting come back. And I'm guessing at Fyter Fest, which is sometime in the summer, we could very well see Sting and Darby versus Red Dragon. I think Sting and Darby are going to get the win. And if anything, I think this is going to be a bridge to get Darby Allin towards a match against Adam Cole. And if that's the case, I got no fucking problem there. I got no problem with that at all. I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with Darby Allin versus Adam Cole. And that, I have a feeling, should take place at All Out. You want to make All Out a big show, Darby Allin, Adam Cole at All Out. That would be great. That would be awesome. That's what I'm looking at. But a shocking win for Kyle O'Reilly. Good for him, I guess. Darby's fine. He can take a loss. But Kyle O'Reilly, I mean, hey, good for him. Good for him. You got to win on pay-per-view against Darby Allin in a hard-hitting match. Dead crowd, but a hard-hitting match. And I'm guessing that we're going to get Sting and Darby versus Red Dragon in the coming weeks. Should be a decent tag team match. And if we get Darby and Adam Cole, if we get Darby and Adam Cole from that at All Out, I mean, take my money there. Take my money there. Serena Deeb versus Thunderosa. This is for the AEW Women's World Championship. I said before that this could have been the best pure women's wrestling match of the year, and it absolutely was. These two did phenomenal. These two were fantastic. Both of these women gelled perfectly. It was physical. The technical wrestling was on point. The strikes were on point. Thunderosa and Serena Deeb, they absolutely killed it. This was perhaps one of the top 3 best matches of the entire fucking night. Excellent, excellent women's wrestling match. Awesome stuff. Really made the AEW Women's Championship feel prestigious. And Thunderosa, right outcome. She retains the AEW Women's World Championship. So we had some very vicious technical wrestling going on. The crowd was actually into it. The crowd was hyped for it. The crowd was very hyped for it. Deeb was actually out wrestling Rosa in the early stages of this match. So we had various different submission holds. Thunderosa then with a surfboard stretch. She actually had Deeb up in the air. Rosa then gained control. Deeb then whipped Thunderosa into the post. And she had a hangman's neckbreaker on the rope, swinging neckbreaker in the ring for a 2. Deeb wore down Rosa. Rosa then with some chops and a lariat. We had a body slam, and then she sent Deeb headfirst into the turnbuckle. Corner clothesline, double knees, hesitation drop kick, and then a Northern Lights suplex for a 2. Deeb transitioned into the Iron Octopus stretch. Deeb then, with a flipping cutter out of the corner, which looked very nice, that got a 2. We had a crossface by Thunderosa, but Deeb got out, and she locked in a stretch muffler. So she transitioned out of the crossface into a stretch muffler. Rosa then bashed Deeb's knee into the mat, similar to how Deeb used to bash her opponent's knees into the mat, applying or setting up to apply the Serenity Lock. So after that, Rosa and Deeb, they were both taken out, double clothesline to the mat. Rosa with a stomp, a double stomp right off of the middle rope, double stomp to the back off the middle rope, and a Death Valley driver. Deeb kicked out. Deeb then with a chop block. Serena then locked in a figure 4 leg lock. Very nice looking figure 4 leg lock. Thunderosa would not quit. She then slapped Deeb across the face. Both women then rolled to the floor. We had a dragon screw by Deeb on the ropes. Deeb hit Deeb Talks, that cross-armed Styles Clash. Rosa got her foot on the ropes. We had the Serenity Lock locked in. Serena Deeb then pulled back, and she wrenched on the leg, but Rosa inevitably got out of it. She hit a power bomb, and then she locked in a clover leaf. Rosa got to the ropes. Rosa then with a roundhouse kick. Rosa then went for knees in the corner, and Serena Deeb moved. She sold the knee, did Rosa. On the top rope, we had a big superplex and a Fire Thunder driver. And Thunder Rosa retains the AEW Women's Championship in an excellent women's wrestling match. Absolutely the best pure women's wrestling match in AEW all year thus far. And let me tell you something, it is going to be a very, very, very difficult task for anybody on that roster to top what Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa did here at Double or Nothing. This was an awesome fucking match. Really, really lived up to what I expected out of it. And Thunder Rosa, she is off to a damn good fucking start as the AEW Women's World Champion, especially after this match. And I do believe that we're going to get a Ty Conti versus Thunder Rosa match, a Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa match, and I would absolutely love a Ruby Soho, a heel Ruby Soho as a member of the House of Black, taking on a babyface Thunder Rosa and taking that title off of her. And as far as Serena Deeb goes, let me tell you something. Serena Deeb is great at what she does. If I'm going to book this, like I said with Chris Statlander, I'm having Statlander take that TBS title off of Jade Cargill, and after Statlander has a solid run with it, at Full Gear, I'm booking Chris Statlander versus Serena Deeb, and I'm putting that TBS championship on Serena Deeb and giving her a run with that title. She damn sure fucking deserves it. The Jericho Appreciation Society versus Eddie Kingston, Proud and Powerful, in the Blackpool Combat Club. This was Anarchy in the Arena. And Justin Roberts announced this match by saying, shit's about to hit the fan. And damn fucking right, shit did hit the fan. We didn't know what was going to come of this. Nobody did. No one fucking knew what was going to come from this. And in the end, holy fuck. We got an absolute classic, to say the least. We got an absolute fucking war. I didn't think that the House of Black and Death Triangle could have been topped. This blew everything away on the show. This was fucking amazing. Incredible. Let me tell you something. All 10 men involved in this match deserve to get a fucking triple pay bonus for what they were paid here. Triple it after what they put on. This was fucking amazing. And no one needed to do anything that they did. No one needed to do anything that they did, but they fucking did it anyway. That right there just goes to show you the testament to how much they care about their craft and how much they want to make a fucking moment here in AEW. This was fucking unbelievable. This was unbelievable. So the brawl started immediately when the Blackpool Combat Club, Proud and Powerful, and Eddie Kingston, they all came out from the crowd, and they were playing Wild Thing while the fucking match and the brawl was going on. And as the song was playing, when it restarted, the crowd fucking popped for it. I thought that this was going to go the whole fucking match. This was fucking great. This is the fucking damnedest thing I've ever seen. Moxley was stabbing Matt Menard with a fucking fork. Jericho was stabbing Moxley with a fork. Matt Menard was busted open. Santana and Ortiz with a double team on Hager. Sweet Streeper through the fucking table. Wild Thing was still playing. Jericho, like the fucking heel that he is, like the prick that he is, he unplugged the fucking music. It's great. It's great. Unplugged the fucking music. Eddie Kingston and Daniel Garcia, they were throwing ketchup and mustard on each other. Garcia then he hit a pile driver to Ortiz on the steps. Kingston and Matt Menard then brawled into the merch stands. Angelo Parker hit Danielson with a ring bell. I was literally trying to get as much notes as I possibly could. Jericho went for the walls of Jericho on the timekeeper's table. The table actually broke. Moxley came back with a suicide dive on Jericho. Bryan with a kick barrage on Hager. Hager then superplexed Danielson on the ramp. The ring was fucking destroyed. They were tearing up the ring and ripping the fucking turnbuckle pads off. Moxley whipped Jericho into the turnbuckle. We had some more tables being brought out. Garcia and Eddie Kingston brawled into a freight elevator, and the freight elevator closed. I don't know where the fuck they went. 2.0 were on tables in the crowd. In the middle of the crowd, 2.0 were on the tables in the middle of the fucking crowd. Proud and Powerful went up the ladder with double frog splashes through the table. All four of those men were taken out. Jericho used a fire extinguisher on Moxley. Danielson, Moxley, Hager, and Jericho, they all stood face to face in the ring. We had some double arm trap elbows, double submission holds. Kingston then came out with a fucking can of gasoline. He was looking to light Jericho on fire. Danielson then slapped Eddie Kingston's hand, slapping the match out of Eddie Kingston's hand because of what Danielson had to endure. Danielson got gasoline dumped on him. We had a big brawl between those two. Moxley was trying to break it up. Jericho and Hager took advantage. Moxley was then sent into a barbed wire pad, twitching, and then Jericho with the Judas effect. Jericho then was knocked out by Danielson in the turnbuckle pad. Danielson, after he got knocked out by Jericho, Danielson still kicked out. We had some more punches and kicks. Danielson with a Busaiku knee on Hager and then a Busaiku knee on Jericho with the chair. Jericho kicked out. Danielson caught some kicks. I don't know how he was still going at this rate. He was running on fucking fumes. He said it's time to kick his fucking head in. Hager then clonked Danielson with the turnbuckle pad. And then out of nowhere, we had a Walls of Jericho. And then Hager choked out Danielson with the rope. Danielson did not tap. He passed out. And the Jericho Appreciation Society gets the win. This was absolutely the most insane match, the craziest fucking match since the North American Championship ladder match back in 2018. You remember that match with Adam Cole, Killian Dane, Lars Sullivan, Ricochet, Velveteen Dream, and EC3? That match was fucking nuts. This match may have topped it. This will absolutely go down as one of the greatest matches of the fucking year. This was fucking amazing. Amazing. Phenomenal. Phenomenal fucking stuff. And I called it. The Jericho Appreciation Society won. Why? Because you got to keep them looking strong. And the payoff will come at Blood and Guts. Whenever that may be, I think it's going to be in July. Blood and Guts, the Jericho Appreciation Society will get their comeuppance as the Blackpool Combat Club, Eddie Kingston, and Proud and Powerful will inevitably get the victory inside Blood and Guts. But as far as Double or Nothing goes, it's the Jericho Appreciation Society that stood tall on this night. Absolute chaos. Absolute chaos left and right. A chaotic classic. The craziest match that we've seen since the original North American title ladder match in 2018 at TakeOver New Orleans. This was phenomenal. Amazing. Absolutely fucking amazing. And the Jericho Appreciation Society, props to them. What a moment for Daniel Garcia and 2.0. That right there. That right there is a great moment for them. So props to them. And I think that they're going to be made into big fucking stars when it's all said and done. They're both going to be made in both Daniel Garcia and 2.0. Angelo Parker and Matt Menard, both of them are going to be made into big fucking stars. Love it. We had Andrade El Idolo. He was in the back with Jose, the assistant. Congratulations to Andrade and Charlotte, who recently just got married. Andrade, he said he's done with the HFO because they're losers. He's got, they're losers. I'm bringing in one of the best wrestlers in the world. And he brings in Rush Del Toro Blanco. I'm telling you, if they bring in Bandito too, we got another team that is putting out a big foot to become the first ever AEW Trios champions. We got the House of Black, Blackpool Combat Club, and now Rush, Andrade, and potentially Bandito if Bandito comes in. But Rush and Andrade, they're now a tag team. If we see these two go for the tag team titles, I mean, take my fucking money there. That's going to be fucking awesome. That's going to be fucking awesome. This is a great fucking move. Rush in AEW is a great move. I love it. Absolutely love it. Jurassic Express versus Team Taz. This is Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs versus Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. This is for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. This was a triple threat match, and this was an excellent triple threat match. This was an excellent triple threat match from start to finish. We had a lot of great spots in this match. All six men worked their asses off, and it felt like the titles meant the most important things in the end. And that's what I love about AEW. They make their championships feel important. The AEW tag team titles are coveted. And Jurassic Express, they got the win here. And I'm very, very happy that they did, because Jurassic Express is awesome. And Jurassic Express, the fact that they're getting this long run with the titles, that just goes to show you how much faith they have in Jurassic Express. Jurassic Express, excellent. Jurassic Express is an excellent tag team. And I'm very happy that they're getting this run with the tag team titles. They may very well go down as the best AEW World Tag Team Champions of all time. Really. The brawl started out immediately. We had Jungle Boy with a dive onto Starks and Swerve. We had an elbow side slam combo for a 2. Swerve then tagged in. Starks and Hobbs took control of everyone. They took care of Swerve quickly. Hobbs then ran over Swerve. Lee tagged in. Him and Swerve with some nice double team action. Jungle Boy and Swerve got into it. We had a double suicide dives. Lee then caught Jungle Boy mid-tope con hero, caught him, power bombed him. He swung him into Luchasaurus and then power bombed him onto Luchasaurus's back, which looked awesome. Hobbs then tagged in. Hobbs was using his power. Starks came in. He took over control. He did a tightrope walk like The Undertaker. Wrist lock, old school, like The Undertaker, and he was being very flamboyant. And Jungle Boy cut his legs out from under him, and he was crotched on the top turnbuckle. Swerve then got the blind tag. He lit up Hobbs, punt kicked to Luchasaurus. Starks then landed hard. He was tossed to the floor. He landed hard. Swerve with a fucking moonsault off of Keith Lee onto Starks and Jurassic Express. Awesome fucking spot. We had a swift kick by Swerve. Lee then came in. Hobbs then came in with a belly-to-belly off the top to Swerve. Great move by Hobbs. We had a tag to Luchasaurus. He lit up Swerve and Hobbs. We had a double clothesline to Team Taz. Tag to Keith Lee. Lee and Luchasaurus faced off. So did Hobbs. We had some swift kicks by Luchasaurus. Double choke slam by Lee and Hobbs. Luchasaurus was taken out. Hobbs was then tossed over the top rope. He inevitably was down on the floor. Keith Lee, like a fucking maniac that he is, with a picture fucking perfect tope con hero over the fucking top onto Jurassic Express and Hobbs. Luchasaurus had Lee up. Sloppy looking drop. That was the only down point of the match right there. Lee inevitably kicked out. Hobbs Hobbs like the maniac. Hobbs was pulling out new shit, so props to Hobbs. Hobbs came off the top with a fucking blockbuster on both men. Jungle Boy and Starks then came in. Christian Cage then saved Jungle Boy from Starks using the ropes. Jungle Boy took out Hobbs. A spear by Ricky Starks. Jungle Boy just kicked out. I thought Starks may have won it right then and there. I thought Starks had it. Luchasaurus accidentally kicked Jungle Boy. He accidentally kicked Jungle Boy. We had the fall from glory. Fall from glory, but Hobbs saved the match. The match continued. I really did think that Swerve and Keith Lee had won the titles right then and there. So Starks then hit Keith Lee with the FTW Championship. Hobbs was then sent to the post. Hobbs was taken out. Starks was then taken out by Christian Cage. We had a close roll-up by Swerve. And then Jurassic Express ended up hitting the Thoracic Express for the win. And Jurassic Express retains in an excellent match as expected. And the one thing that I love about this match the most is the fact that they made this match unpredictable to a point where you didn't know who was going to come out victorious. Either one of these three teams could have came out victorious. I don't think Team Taz is done. I think that Swerve and Lee may be done for the time being. I think Swerve and Lee, they could very well mix it up with American Top Team. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see Swerve and Lee challenge Sky for the TNT Championship. That's what I'd love to see. But as far as Team Taz goes, I don't think Team Taz is done. I think we're going to get another match between Team Taz and Jurassic Express. We could very well see Team Taz win the tag team titles. We could very well see him win the tag team titles. But this was an excellent match as expected. Jurassic Express, they are really hitting their stride. They have been great AEW World Tag Team Champions. They are so fucking over as AEW World Tag Team Champions, and I am very happy that they are getting this run. They are doing some phenomenal shit. Really, they are. Main event time. Main event time, people. This was CM Punk. CM Punk versus Hangman Adam Page. This was for the AEW World Championship. This was an excellent main event, minus a couple of botched buckshot lariats by CM Punk. Obviously, he cannot do it as well as Hangman, and I guess that a lot of people should come to the realization that it's very hard to pull off what Adam Hangman Page can pull off. No one does it as well as Hangman. No one does it as well as Hangman. So both men, they started chopping each other early on. Punk then whipped Hangman into the post. Page mounted a comeback with a fall-away slam, springboard clothesline, and a slingshot pescado. We had a rolling elbow by Page in the ring. Punk went down. Punk went for the buckshot lariat. Punk shut him down. Punk went out of the ring. Page with a pop-up powerbomb on the apron and a diving clothesline into the ring by Punk. Punk then was caught with a superplex by Page off the top. Punk tried to mount the comeback with a nice leg lariat, rising knee, and a bulldog. Then we had the springboard lariat by CM Punk, swinging neck breaker for a 2. Punk was then knocked to the floor. Adam Page with a beautiful Orihara moonsault on the floor. Page landed hard on his knee. He was selling the left knee. Punk then reversed the buckshot lariat into the sharpshooter. Page got to the ropes. Punk tried for the buckshot himself. He failed. Page recovered quite nicely, and he ended up delivering a GTS attempt. He had Punk up going for the GTS, but Punk, he reversed it. Punk with a shitty-looking buckshot lariat. Obviously, CM Punk is not Adam Hangman Page, and I guess a lot of people realize that it's a lot more complex than we think in order to hit the buckshot lariat. It really is. The one that he pulled on John Silver was great. The one that he tried to do here, not so great. And I guess it has to do with the fact that he's been wrestling a 20-minute match up to this point. But regardless of that, Punk with a buckshot lariat nonetheless. He got the clothesline, but Adam Page kicked out. Page with a powerbomb, deadeye combination. Punk just kicked out. That was a nice combo. Paige then signaled for the GTS. Punk hit a roundhouse kick. Punk charged towards Adam Page. Page caught CM Punk with a very nice looking GTS. 1, 2. Punk ended up kicking out. Both men traded strikes back and forth, punches and kicks. Both men spilled out to the floor. Page then threw Punk into the timekeeper's table. He held the title up and said, "This is mine." Page went for the buckshot lariat. He went for it, but Punk caught him up in a GTS position. Punk was swinging Page around. Page's feet accidentally knocked down the referee, Paul Turner. Page then with a lariat turning Punk inside out. Page then looked over at the championship title belt, and he didn't know what to do. He thought about using it. He wanted to hit Punk with the championship to protect AEW from CM Punk. But he decided not to. He decided better of it. He wanted to be an admirable champion. And CM Punk, that proved to be Adam Page's downfall. Buckshot lariat, he went for it. Punk, reversal, up and around, inside out, hoists him up, go to sleep. CM Punk pinned 1, 2, 3. And CM Punk, this was absolutely the right outcome. CM Punk is your new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Minus the botched buckshot lariats, minus that shit. It was an excellent main event. And CM Punk, let me tell you something, people. CM Punk has not missed a step. CM Punk has been at the top of his fucking game ever since he came back. This was absolutely the right outcome. I don't want to hear it from anyone. This was absolutely the right outcome. CM Punk being the world champion, not only has Adam Page had the best matches out of any AEW world champion in history thus far, but Adam Page, he can hang his hat on a phenomenal fucking title reign with defenses against Cole, Archer, Bryan, and he had the match with Punk. Great match with Punk. Adam Page is going to be their top tier guy, or one of the top tier guys over there for a long, long time. Adam Page has had a phenomenal world championship title run, but now it's Punk's time. Punk being the world champion is going to get more eyes on AEW television. Punk being the world champion is going to create a lot of buzz. Punk being the world champion is going to make AEW a place to be where people want to test themselves against the best. And on top of that, whoever beats CM Punk for the AEW World Championship is going to be made into a megastar, whoever that may be, whether it's Darby, whether it's Wardlow, whether it's Miro, whether it's Samoa Joe. But in my eyes, I absolutely see Adam Cole as the guy. Take that title off CM Punk. I don't think that's going to be until Revolution next year. But Adam Cole, he would absolutely be my number one to take that title off of CM Punk for the time being. We'll see what happens. But let me tell you something. CM Punk is the world champion. It is going to be a great fucking moment. It's going to be a great title run, and I cannot wait for Wednesday. I cannot wait to see the fallout on Dynamite. This was a great show, minus a few things which we went over. CM Punk capping it off, winning the World Championship in an excellent main event, and Adam Page, he can look back at this title reign, and he is going to be proud. He's going to be proud for sure. Awesome show, minus a few things besides the match placement, Ruby Soho losing, and then, of course, the American Top Team match. This was still an excellent show from start to finish. Really fun stuff. And like I said, if you're not on board with what AEW is doing, if you're not a fan of AEW, then you're not a fan of pro wrestling, and you should really get yourself a new fucking hobby. Shut the fuck up. Stop fucking complaining. This is professional wrestling. If you don't like it, then there's something mentally fucking wrong with you. I can't help you. It's not my fault you're a fucking retard. I enjoy good pro wrestling, just like we got here with this show. Awesome show. Cannot wait to see the fallout on Dynamite. We got Dynamite live, and then Rampage is actually live from Ontario, Canada. Or Ontario, California, I believe. Excuse me. It's either Ontario, California or Ontario, Canada. Let me look this shit up. Ontario, California. My apologies. Ontario, California. I don't know why I said Canada. It's because of the CA. It's because of the CA in both Canada and California. But either way, Rampage is going to be live this week. That's going to be great. Cannot wait to see what they have in store for AEW Dynamite and AEW Rampage. This was an awesome show, minus a few blips here and there. And AEW, man, they've hit their stride. They've really hit their stride, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for them. I can't wait for Forbidden Door. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of The Rewind. An awesome show. Awesome show. I greatly appreciate every single one of you taking the time out of your day to join me here on the channel. Thank you to Danielle Wolf, Dee, Earl Cole. Thank you to Mitch Kofsky. Thank you to everyone who decided to stop by. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, check out all of those links in the description. Check out all the videos that I posted prior, including the vlog from ISPW War to Settle, Score the LFU, and anything far and few in between that you may have missed. The Summer of Storms kickoff tour is certainly heating up, that's for sure. And tomorrow, big announcement, people, big announcement. Tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here, live on YouTube, me and Jay Aletto will be going live for the official rundown for WWE Hell in a Cell 2022, which, of course, is streaming live on Peacock this Sunday, June 5th, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So shout out to Jay Aletto. Him and I will be joining each other tomorrow at 7:30 on the channel. Do not miss it. It is going to be damn fucking good. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm DJ Storms. This has been The Rewind. I hope you guys have a very happy Memorial Day. God bless America. God bless you. And I will catch you guys live tomorrow evening for the rundown for Hell in a Cell. Why? Because fuck NXT. NXT sucks. No one gives a shit about NXT. But remember, people, who runs the IWC? Who but DJ motherfucking Storms. And I will catch you guys later.